My name is Katya Muromtseva. I'm a visual artist. I'm based in New York, but currently I'm doing a residency in New Jersey where I'm finishing my project that I will show with NIKA Project Space in Paris. So the title of the show is Nostos. It's a theme used in ancient Greek literature, and this theme is very present at the Homer Odyssey. What I'm trying to do in my project here is to do a contemporary odyssey about a character whose name is Kay, who is returning back home after 10 years of absence.
One morning, she returned.
I started creating this body of work around 3 years ago. I conducted a lot of interviews with people who immigrated to different countries. And this way, I also processed my own immigration to the United States. So some of the interviews really stuck with me, and I chose 5 interviews out of, I think, 100 that I did. And these 5 interviews informed the whole story. So these characters are actually inspired by people with whom I talked.
Faces everywhere, hanging from the ceilings, piled on the shelves, stuck in corners.
The story is about this character Kay, who comes back from the land of birds, from this weird country where she worked for 10 years, and she finds out that she's not legally alive in her own country. She finds this death certificate in her empty apartment, and she doesn't know what to do with that because she doesn't have any legal right to be alive. So she decides that she needs to go to the Department of Faces, that's how I called it, the main bureaucratic building that issue your documents in that world. So she goes there and she faces the inspector who tells her, you know what, you cannot be legally alive because it doesn't matter what I see, what matters is the documents. So the whole film is this odyssey, is her journey going through these departments and meeting other characters, listening to their stories and trying to prove that she has this right to live. The final project is the video. It's a 30-minute animation, but it's very important for me to show also the process, how I created this animation. I start with small drawings. I just use Sharpie and paper. And I made, I think, around 300 drawings. And some of them are more imaginative. Some of them actually are informed by art history, by Rembrandt, by Diana Arbus, by other artists that I really admire. Then I actually transfer these drawings on the plastic material, on the celluloid, and I make cylinders out of each plastic piece. Each cylinder serves as a background for my animation. So for this film, I made, I think, 50 cylinders or something. So 50 backgrounds that I change while I'm filming. So I actually film the projection of the shadows from the drawings from the cylinder. I think that work with shadow actually helps me to convey very important social and political issues. If we think about Plato and the cave, right? This ancient legend about people who were sitting in the cave looking at the shadows, and they thought that this is a real world, but they only saw the shadows of the real world. I think something like that happens a lot when we have these narratives that the government tells us it's just the shadow of some propaganda or something that constructed. So as a counterpart for that, I construct my own world, but it's more open for interpretation for people, so they can actually project their memories, their ideas and their fears into this work. What else is important for me about Kay is that she faces the system that she needs to prove herself to, and the system is just bureaucracy, and the bureaucracy just follows the rules. It's some sort of autobiographical character too, because I went through the process of obtaining a green card in the United States, and it's called Extraordinary Alien Green Card. So I needed to prove that I'm an alien with extraordinary ability. So that's how it's actually called. So I really relate to this character personally. Because, for example, the obstacles that Kay faces in her journey to prove that she is alive, and some of the language of bureaucracy when you immigrate is even more absurd. Nothing in this bureaucratic world make any sense, but we try to make this sense over and over again to kind of justify all this process. I wanted to create a story that could be relevant for people these days, not only for people who immigrated, but for anybody who feel that they are foreign in some situation, that they are the other, that they're different. All of us at some point face that situation, but I'm trying to make them more abstract, absurd, and universal for people to connect with them and to connect with the historical events that are happening right now that I translate in this poetic shadow language.